And let's bring in, to me, there's two linebackers in this league that jump off the television set, Fred Warner and Demario Davis, and he is now joining us live in studio, entering his 13th NFL season. Great seeing you.
Oh, man, thank you for having me on.
I said this last week, that there are linebacker, to a lot of people, running back and linebacker. When I grew up watching football, those were the cool positions. I mean, Ray Lewis and the late Junior Seau. And you can go back to Dick Butkus. And running backs were Peyton and Barry Sanders. And then the NFL gets more analytical. And now teams moving off Roquan Smith. And I'm like, there's two linebackers in this league, Fred Warner and you. I said this last week. It's just different. I can see on my television. It's different. What's interesting about you were a multiple sports star in high school. You were track.
Yeah.
I think you were football. You could have been basketball or baseball. And you were a guy willing to you went to Arkansas State.
Yeah.
You were willing to do a lot of different stuff. Explain your story. Did that help? Did Arkansas State help? I mean, if you look at your journey, I would never guess, he's going to be one of the best linebackers for a decade in the NFL. What do you think your journey did to create the toughness? Your instincts are insane.
Yeah.
You beat the players to the ball.
Yeah.
What is it?
I think exactly what you just said. My journey is everything that makes me the man that I am today. When I came out of high school, growing up in Mississippi, I didn't have Mississippi State, Ole Miss coming to offer me. It was Arkansas State, Southern Miss. And I didn't even know who Arkansas State was when they came to recruit me.
I still don't.
And I think when you have to, you feel like you can do so much, but you're constantly being knocked down, it produces a certain type of resiliency. I mean, I got to Arkansas State, a relatively unknown school, and I redshirt my first year. I feel like I need to be on the field, but it makes me go into the weight room. It makes me learn how to play the game. And then, going third round and being drafted third round at the end of my journey, and you see all these guys that they're putting out in front of you, and I don't start as a linebacker my first year. Only thing I play is special teams. And granted, I had two great linebackers, Dave Harris and Bart Scott, that I got a chance to learn from behind. But it produces something in you that you always got to work for what you want. And I think it's kind of a forgotten art to that, and what that means. What I mean by that, you living in a time where there's the transfer portal and there's all these AAU teams. And so if you don't play and you don't like your situation, just change your situation.
You couldn't.
No. I mean, I'm sitting on the sideline of Arkansas State. Ain't nowhere for me to go. But here is to find a way to get on the field. And it made me go in the weight room and put the work in. It made me go talk to my coaches. How do I learn how to watch film? Teach me how to play linebacker. Teach me how to play this game. And once I learned, I just kept working. And I have that same mentality now. 13 years in, I'm trying to figure out how do I outwork the rookies that are coming in. That's just, and it's because of something that's been built in me based on my journey.
Who was the first person in the NFL that you believe not just liked you, but really believed in you? Like, this is a Pro Bowl linebacker.
Yeah. Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan called it.
Rex Ryan
called it.
Tell me the story.
I mean, I didn't know to what extent that he meant it, and I think a lot of people laughed at him. He said when he drafted me that the closest comparison that he could make to me was Ray Lewis. And so no one knew. First of all, I thought that was the ultimate compliment, and I knew exactly what he meant. He wasn't describing me as a player, like this guy's going to play like Ray. He's going to be physically violent. He said,
disruptive.
This guy is going to be a great leader. He is a leader of men. Like when Ray opens his mouth, people are paying attention. When he takes the field, his presence is felt. And he saw that in me, and everybody just kind of laughed. Like, who you comparing this guy from the middle of nowhere, a small school in Mississippi, played at Arkansas State, third-round linebacker, to one of the greatest linebackers that have ever played the game. And when he said that, and I saw everybody kind of laugh and kind of smirk at that, I said, man, this coach sees me. He sees me. And I just wanted to respond to that. And my journey has been just that. I'm going to put the work in. That's what I told him when I showed up. I just walked in. And when I walked into the Jets facility, I had never saw a facility like that in my life. That was my first time being in a super first-class environment where and I'm like, oh, this is what we got to train with? This is what we got to work with? Don't worry, Coach. I'm gonna make good on what you said. And all these years later, I hope hope I'm proving them right.
Give me an example. And one of the things that's so obvious, first of all, you're a very, like Ray Lewis, you disrupt the ball. You jar the ball out. You hit hard.
Yeah.
And not all linebackers do. Some are drag guy down guys. Some are rangy guys.
Yeah.
But your instincts are insane.
Yeah.
So I remember years ago watching a player, not a linebacker, named Honey Badger, and I was talking to a coach, and I'm like, I don't know what he's doing, but he's on every play.
Yeah.
Even when he's out of position, he ends up.
Yeah.
You tend to be instinctively in the right. So that tells me you're watching a lot of game film.
Yeah.
Give me an example of something last year where you watched film and you saw a tell, or you saw something, and there's no question in your mind you made a play based on film study, not just your athleticism.
Yeah, I'll give you two. So number one, 2 years ago, and this is the greatest play I feel like to date because I got a chance to pick off the GOAT, Tom Brady. But I knew, like Tom Brady, when you study him, he loves the middle of the field. He's like he's playing chess. And you want to dominate the middle of a chessboard, and that's what he's done. That's why his tight end is the greatest tight end of all time, is because he was focusing on the middle of the field. That's why his slots got off. That's why his running backs got off. So I knew with Tom that he wanted to get to the middle of the field, and Tom is a very hard guy to study for, just because you can even know what he's about to do, but he's going to do it quicker than you can respond to it.
Right.
And I was dropping out in the hook, and I knew Tom was going to go from his slant. If it's open in the middle, it was a 3-by-1 picture, it was trips. I knew he was going to hit the middle of the field, and if he realized that guy's covered, he's going to the next one. He's going boom, boom, and then he'll come back to his backside check down. And I dropped out, and I wasn't supposed to do it, but I bumped the 3 like I was matching him, and as soon as he saw me do that, he thought the slot was open, and I fell into the next window, and it was an interception. And then that's a pass game play. The next is we're playing the Giants, and you got all this, hype around the quarterback that's kind of coming in, but and he was having a good year. I can't remember the guy's name, Italian kid.
Oh yeah, the backup kid.
And so he was having a great moment, and there was a lot of hype around him. But I knew what they wanted to do was focus on the run game, just because you want to keep him kind of calm. You don't want to put too much in his hands. And they had this pull scheme play where I knew they were going to try to get the ball to Saquon, and my job was to fit outside. But I knew if I could come around based on the guards, that their guards were going wide, I knew it was going to be an entry play, and I was able to backdoor and
that's just film.
Yeah.
That is just repetition of sitting in a room often. Sometimes ever watch it just by yourself.
Yeah.
Over and over and over.
Yeah. And one of the great ones was, and I ain't gonna give too many of my secrets, was I jumped a screenplay on Baker Mayfield off one rep. I saw something on film, and it was like Saturday night right before the game. I'm studying, and I picked up. I'm like, man, he did like a little check, and I picked up on it, and he did it in the game, and I was able to jump. And I think nobody on my team, coaches, nobody knew how I knew that play, but it was off one play.
So you've had Sean Payton as a coach, obviously.
Yeah.
And now Sean has a rebuild. He's got a real rebuild.
Yeah.
What? Now he's an offensive coach, offensive side of the ball. But can an offensive coach teach you things? Did Sean teach you things as a linebacker?
Absolutely. He trained me. He was a part of the evolution. So I learned from guys I've spent time with. Ray Lewis, I've spent time with Ed Reed, guys who helped me study from a defensive aspect. But, being around guys like Sean and Drew and being able to ask them questions of what are they foundationally looking for. And Sean has told me things that I won't put everything out there, but he's told me things like, man, if you just look for this and this, you pretty much know what the offense is trying to do. And literally, if you break your study down from this, you look at these 3 things, you'll know what they're about. And whether it's first, second down, whether it's third down, whether it's red zone.
Now he's an intense guy. Does he turn players off sometimes?
Oh yeah, if you're not a competitor and you're not trying to win, it's not going to be for you. If you just a me guy, or you just only want to turn it on game day, like, no, everything's a competition. Everything is a competition with Sean, and that's what he likes. He likes guys who compete to win.
So again, you play in one of the more violent positions. You are constantly shedding blockers. You never have an easy path.
Yeah.
I mean, even with you, Ray Lewis, you're banging into people and most guys you're banging into are bigger than you.
Yeah.
13 years in this league, you're still healthy. Ray used to have these crazy pregame, what he would do, and baths. And what do you do now in year 13 that maybe you didn't do in the first couple years to feel better, to prepare off-season? What do you do now? How's it changed for you?
Yeah, I mean, hey, y'all make sure y'all don't block this part out. Firstly, like, I cannot take for granted the covering that God has had on my body. And so, like, it's literally just the Holy Spirit comes in my body and just takes over. And that's why I have this platform to do what I do, because I'm always give glory. Don't block that out now. Next, I have an incredible team around me.
You do.
I have an incredible team.
You spend money on it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's upward six figures, but I mean, it's part of your business. What business do you see that's successful that you don't invest back into?
So your diet is all lined up.
No, I wouldn't say my diet. I'm a country boy. So my diet is.
You want brisket, you're eating brisket.
My diet has gotten better. I mean, the main thing I had to eliminate was fried foods, and that's hard on your boy. And no desserts. But but it's not the diet. It's all the things that you're doing to recover your muscles, all the things you're doing to manipulate your tissue, all the things you're doing to protect your joints. It's all those things. And how do you get to maximum speed and maintain maximum speed for an entire season? And it's a lot of work.
Are there players, Demario Davis for our radio audience, 13 years in the NFL, really one of the 5-time All-Pro, one of the jump off the TV screen linebackers, and there's not a ton. Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, there are not a lot of guys that jump off the screen. Are there guys, if I said to you, who's a guy that is a tough matchup? And it's interesting. I ask players this all the time, and it's not always Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
I've talked to offensive tackles, and they're like, this guy's arms are long. He disrupts me. Yeah. Are there players, maybe it's a tight end that you deal with that is just, he may not get the best of you, but Saturday night, Sunday's going to be 3.5 hours of intensity. Yeah,
I mean, you have certain guys that come across you as a matchup that you got to really, pay attention to, like what plays do their teams like with them, like unique guys, your Christian McCaffreys of the world.
Right.
Your Travis Kelce's, your George Kittles. This Jamar Gibbs is going to be a problem from Detroit, Like when I started studying him, I'm like, oh, yeah.
That burst is something.
Yeah, it is. And but a guy in my position, leading the defense, having to be tapped into the IQ of the game, my matchup is always going to be the quarterback and the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And so that's where I spend a lot of my time studying what's the relationship between them, what are they trying to do, and
So in your division this year, you're going to get Kirk Cousins, and then potentially you got Baker and Kirk. They're older guys. Bryce Young's a younger guy in your division. Is it like when you're sitting there watching an Aaron Rodgers or a Brady or a Kirk Cousins, compared to a rookie quarterback, and there's like 4 or 5 of them going to start.
Yeah.
Can you tell, if I just let you hear the audio, you don't even watch them, can you tell the difference as a linebacker calling the signals? That's not real layered. That's simple stuff.
Yeah.
Are there guys that literally are playing chess with your mind?
Yeah, I mean, the game has evolved. A lot of it, if you look at offenses now, they're taking a lot of the reads off of the quarterback, where it's like, we're going to call this play, you're going to know, go here, here, here. If you can just look out there and know what to look for, you're going to know where to go with the ball. And so it takes a lot off, and quarterbacks are coming into the game a lot more mature.
Yeah, way more snaps in college.
Yeah. They've had a lot more snaps. They've had a lot more time to develop their mechanics. They come in a lot more crisp. And so between the offensive coordinator calling the play, that's easier for the quarterback to diagnose. It takes a lot of weight off of him. And the quarterback having polished mechanics, that's why you're able to see these young guys come in and have so much success. But what you can see is like the anticipated throws. When you're playing guys who are later in their career, like a Kirk Cousins, like a Stafford, guys who like a Jared Goff, you see them later in their career, they're making throws in timing that they weren't making earlier in their career.
They're throwing stuff before it's over.
Yeah, and that's what you see is like when you're studying them, you see the timing different.
Yeah. You could play, it looks like you could play for years. What is the balance between I want to be upright when I'm 60?
Yeah.
I got money. I mean, you're a Southern guy. You're going to stay in the South.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got a great spread down there.
Yeah.
What is the line for you that, hey, I'm going to hang it up? Because right now you're still dominant, which is incredible in year 13 for a linebacker.
Absolutely.
When do you just say, is it winning if the team's not winning? What is that for you? What's it look like, retirement and when?
Man, I think that's a phenomenal question. I think it's all about identity and knowing who you are. I've been so blessed by this game. I played a lot longer than I ever thought I would. Have got a chance to experience so much, and to be able to be where I am and have set my family up for long after I leave this place. You know, why am I still playing? It's because God is not done with what he's doing with me in the game yet. And I'll play as long as he tells me to keep going, because it's him that's extending my platform, because he knows what I'm going to do with it. He knows every time I get in a seat like this, I'm going to give glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'm going to say it's because of him that I'm here. I mean, I go back to 2017. I was in Cleveland, like I was ready to retire. And I said, man, God, my body is broke down. My mind's broke down.
Right.
I can't do it anymore. But if you want me to go forward, I'll keep going. And I'm praying this. And God literally spoke to me internally and was just like, I got it. You waved the white flag, I got it from here. And so I can't help but to use this platform to continue to give him glory every time. It's not like a front for me. It's not like a T-shirt. It's not just like a chain for me. It's not like earrings with crosses on them. It's not like I'm just trying to have a brand of Jesus Christ. Like, no, look, it's my life. It's light. What is that? Where is it coming from? It's coming from him. And he wants to have that same type of relationship and connection with you. It's not just unique to me. It's not like, oh, he has this special favor on Demario. Like, no, this is what happens when you have that true relationship. And so for me, the game is literally that. It's a platform that gives me an opportunity to talk about him. And as long as he wants to use it for that, you know, I'm going to do it. And we got to get this Super Bowl too.
You know, Zion, New Orleans has such great food. He kind of struggled. You know, you get all around those Rockefeller oysters and all the gumbo.
It's dangerous.
I was going to say, it is such an amazing food city.
Yeah.
Like, you have to occasionally, even in season. You just have to say, tonight, I'm gonna go big. I'm going to go big gumbo. Do you have a favorite restaurant in New Orleans?
You know what?
What's your go-to place? If I stop by, take me to your favorite place.
You know, it's a couple of places in New Orleans that if I'm gonna go eat, number one, like Maro's. Maro's is a
Isn't that a legendary place?
Yeah. He's a legend in the city, and he just opened a new steak spot. I gotta try that Maro's steak. If you dare, go get some. I haven't had it yet, but I've heard great reviews. But Maro's is always gonna be a win. I mean, I'm a crawfish type of guy.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like coming out of summertime, Smitty's is my spot. I'm gonna go there, but I mean, you can't find a bad meal in New Orleans. It's hard to find. You know what I mean? And so, that's really my jam. When I do want to kind of splurge and do a little bit, I'm gonna find some good food.
Well, it's great seeing you. We've talked before. Demario Davis of the New Orleans Saints. The story is remarkable. Arkansas State Jets, bounced around, almost retire. And he's going to wrap up his career, I imagine, with the Saints as a dominant player in this league. And on a Monday, as you are, I know those Niner practices got canceled. By the way, when did you get a call? So then basically the 49ers are falling apart, and they just said, we don't have enough players. When did you find out?
Well, I found out at the same time everybody else found out.
On Twitter?
When it dropped on the internet. And, you know, we wish those guys well. I don't know what's going on internally with them, but you know, we just wish them well. We were looking forward to a great week of practice, going against that high-powered offense, being able to see how they move. And, you know, just it's always great when you get a chance to fellowship with other teams and see kind of how they operate. And you have friends across the league. So we kind of bummed that we didn't get that opportunity, but we understand.
Great seeing you.
Hey, thank you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.